What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today Extinction. Over the course of my life, I've played hundreds of different games, both big budget and tiny indie projects, but the stuff that's sometimes the most interesting is the titles that fall somewhere in the middle. The studios that aim to make something that's sort of in the gray area, having large maps and big bosses, but with enough heart and soul to make them actually unique. I think that's what Extinction was going for, but to be painfully honest, this game has some major problems. Let's start off by diving into the incredibly thin story, since that's really what's supposed to motivate us, even though it fails horribly. We're filling the role of an ancient, legendary warrior called Avil. In this planet, there are these people who are trained since birth to basically be superhuman guardians, to be the only people strong enough to fight off these giants whenever they show up. Now, that sort of makes sense, except for one thing, which is that they constantly talk about the fact that Avil needs to train somebody. This is actually a major part of the whole plot point, is that since he's by himself, they can't seem to save the world. They constantly keep getting entire cities decimated by these giants because there's only one guy trying to protect an entire kingdom by himself. But moving past that, the biggest flaw of this entire plot is the fact that we don't actually see anything. We never see any characters other than Avil. Now, the way you're able to go through this entire game without seeing anybody is because basically you have a magical cell phone. It's a crystal that you talk to all the other characters with. So because of it, they never show up. Literally, they're a tiny box on the corner of the screen for the entire game, just telling you, oh no, another city's being attacked, or oh no, Avil, you're not doing good enough. You don't see these people, they're just tiny voices, which completely disconnects you from the struggle itself. How am I supposed to believe that this kingdom is any sort of trouble when I never meet any of the people who live here? The only time you really encounter people is the random civilians that are in these towns being attacked. So let's fast forward to the combat, because I think that this is what's supposed to be the most fun, but man does it not land. So essentially, the big draw of this game is the fact that you are battling giants. These 50-foot tall monstrosities that kind of look like orcs. The only way to take these guys down is by chopping the back of their neck, exactly like Attack on Titan. But doing that is not so simple, because you need enough energy in order to kill them. For some reason, it's not really explained, you need to charge up your sword in order to kill these guys. How do you get energy? Well, by killing all the tiny mobs across the map. That's stuff like these little teeny tiny goblins or these flying bat-like guys. Taking them out saves up their souls or something in your blade and makes it where you can climb on top of a giant and chop their neck. The only other way to power up your blade is to chop off pieces of the armor. So as you can see, every single one of these giant orc called the Ravenii, they each have all these tiny pieces of armor on them. These pieces of armor are the #1 most annoying thing about this game to me because it is so repetitive. Basically, there are different tiers of armor. The stronger guys will have tougher stuff to break off. Initially, everybody just has a little piece of wooden armor where you chop it off their wrist, you can now decapitate their arm. Well, it will grow back, but for a few seconds at least, they will be unable to continue damaging the town. Chop off a leg by knocking out the armor and then cutting them at the calf, and once again, you'll have them sitting on their butt, unable to progress deeper into the city and take more lives. This does the bonus thing of course charging up your blade, but here's the thing that just drives me nuts. There is no extra creative thing ever added to this game. That right there, this is as deep as combat ever gets. The only thing that makes things slightly different is as you go deeper into the story, the monsters start having more tough armor. That's it. They'll have these tiny locks on their gear, so you need to slow down time and aim for a specific lock. Some locks take 2 hits, some locks take 5 hits, but that's it. Every single battle unfolds the exact same, from the first mission to the 15th mission to the 50th mission. Everything runs the exact same. There is nothing different ever. The only thing that's ever even slightly different is some missions have you going off and trying to kill a certain amount of targets, while other ones are just about trying to teleport out all the civilians you can. But guess what? In both of these, you are still just going to be flying around chopping locks. This is the entire game. I am so blown away by the fact that there is not anything else to this, and it is a $60 project. Oh wait, there is some upgrades. Do you want to know about how bad these are? Well, check this out. The talent tree is incredibly bare bones, and here's the worst thing, even when you upgrade your character a bunch, it doesn't do anything. Here is what I'm referring to. If you get hit by a giant, it immediately kills you. Instantly. It doesn't matter. I spent thousands of my talent points to try and upgrade my health to maximum right at the start. It does nothing. If you are touched, you instantly die. But that doesn't mean a game over. You just reappear right back in town completely fine. The same goes for my attack as well, since there's really only two ways to hit, either a rune strike with my sword or the basic square 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 combo. I figured that if I went deeper into the talent tree, I'd unlock more options on how I'm going to enter the fight. But they don't. It seems like this game is so streamlined that it kind of loses everything about it that's actually supposed to add complexity, to make it where as I'm going into this tree, I'm learning more about the character and seeing all these apparent years of training paying off. How can I supposedly be this legendary warrior who only freaking presses one button to beat up goblins? It is so annoying that there is no extra element to this. Why is it that I don't have a thing that makes it where I actually feel like I'm getting stronger or changing how my hero plays? I'm always going to be using my same very bad grapple hook to try and pull myself up onto a giant, chop the exact same pieces of gear, and then get hit once, die, come back to life, and take him out. This game is not difficult in the slightest, and it's not really fun at all. I feel like the only times I really found myself actually having some enjoyment is the times when I was just kind of goofing around. Since the maps are completely randomized as this same couple buildings just placed in different spots, sometimes I would go into an area and just swing around and say screw the people. I treated this like a super crappy version of Spider-Man because making up my own stuff to do was dramatically more interesting than actually trying to battle these giants. I do want to say that there is something I do think is cool about this game, and it's that, in fact, I will admit that the cutscenes, the couple little animated cartoon ones, these are pretty neat. They actually kind of show us a little bit of an example of Avil and how he got stronger, showing us a little bit of backstory about his training. I almost wish that this had actually gotten fleshed out more. I wanted to see more about this world and about how everybody's been struggling here. If this is an entire planet where people have been running from humongous orcs for hundreds of years, you would expect that they would have cities more built to prepare for that. But they don't. It seems like they sat down and invented an engine for a game, put some characters into it, and then just sold it. Genuinely, I have to unfortunately say this feels like it's early access, and that's being really, really nice. Just because your controls are tight isn't enough. You need to be able to motivate a character to keep progressing deeper into this land, to figure out why this conflict matters. You didn't bother with writers, and you clearly didn't bother making any fight actually fun. And so because of it, this is a painful journey that's hard to recommend. Okay, so we've heard a lot of bad and some good, but let's over to the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving Extinction a 4 out of 10. Now, I'm sure a lot of people in the comments are going to go, if you ripped on it so hard, how is it not a lower score? Because at the end of the day, this game does run. It doesn't crash, it does function, and I feel like for what it's trying to do, it is sort of successful. It wants to be a knockoff of Attack on Titan, and in a really bad way, they sort of achieve that. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. And don't rent this game. If anything, get Attack on Titan. Those games are actually pretty decent in their own way. Oh, hey, I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP. Are you curious what I'm going to come out with next? Well, if you click this button, you'll be subscribed to be the first to know. Also, if you click over here and here, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. I promise, it was super good. Or it was really bad and I'm sure you can just make fun of me in the comments. Either way, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching.